all of the stuff, but Canva is always an applicable topic. I think it's the best thing to use for realtors for a very affordable price. You can do anything and everything on there. And they kind of have the AI features now too. Have you seen that? No? Yeah, it's been fun. I actually teach Canva too, but Gina, these are recent. I was like, Gina can teach it. But yeah, it's really nice. I mean, there's a brand hub now, so you can keep all like your logos in colors. And it will easily make like a ton of graphics for you.
That's super helpful.
Yeah,
but I need to use that. But the video one, I haven't been able to learn that one.
What?
Because I know like some snippets that I do like on my videos, I load them into Canva, but then I
don't use the 6-app Canva.
Oh yeah.
I like that.
Y'all have your own.
Yeah, we have a professional account.
Oh, yeah.
All of our stuff's preloaded into.
Yeah. Perfect.
So like our color codes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, good. Yeah, the brand.
But what Tanner told us, because we use ours all the time, Sasha and I do, all of our stuff would be, y'all would get, we do it every day. So he said it would stay in there.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, you don't probably want to deal with that.
Oh, like in there, in the 6-app hub. Yeah.
But
Well, you can put it into folders too. So you have like your own little folder
and then
that
take
people
it
could take
and then
it.
save your stuff that you create
Yeah.
and export it.
I definitely scrape some of Jay's Collins stuff. And just like,
Yeah, there you
boom,
go.
lock my
Yeah.
in, boom, we done.
Yeah, that's really nice. I know someone else who does that. They have a full brokerage that uses the same account. Actually, it was kind of confusing, but they didn't have it organized. And I like organized. So I was like, you just put it in folders.
That's why we were like,
You'll
we'll
be
just
good.
keep doing what we're doing. We just
Yeah.
uploaded all the 6-app stuff into ours.
Totally. And I've met all of y'all pretty much besides you're brand new.
Chase.
Nice to meet you, Chase,
Nice to meet you.
Rachel, with Older Public Title. Y'all know the spiel. We love y'all. We love being around. If you haven't worked with us, you need to. Melinda couldn't be here today. Brian and Melinda have worked together for 900 years.
Forever.
As long as they've been alive. No. But she gets it done. You have questions. I know Brian talks a lot about JC Johnson, our outside legal counsel. Huge fan. I send out his information every single day. Poor guy. Not a poor guy, rich guy. Great advice. But he's available. So you can always reach out to him. I have my business cards too. I put my info up here too. If you want to shoot me a text, I prefer texting. If you text me, I will try to text you back as soon as possible. Easy peasy.
Thank you for lunch.
You're so
thank
welcome. Always. I'm gonna
And
eat some myself too.
Okay. very good.
Yeah, I accidentally intermittent fast almost every day. I'm usually dying by noon.
I'm gonna shut that down just a little bit so we can watch the video.
Right.
And
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
I tell people I work out almost every day.
What do we-
Almost on Monday. Almost almost every day.
That applies to me as well.
That's I think so.
okay, we're gonna get started with Canva design, and it looks like there's 5 parts here. So we'll get started here.
I don't even think there's any.
Hello everyone, Gina Carter here with a class for you, Real Estate Strategies Canva Design. So this is going to be basics of Canva. I'm not going to try to go too deep, but I'm going to try to go through a lot of different things for you to feel more equipped and a little bit more prepared to dive into Canva and play around with it when you have some new marketing to create. And I'm going to wrap up the class with several templates that you will be receiving that you're able to take and make your own. So let's get started. This is part of a 3-part series, standalone classes, or they work really well together. I may reference some of what we do in here in the other 2, but the first one is Canva Design. Then we have a Google Forms class. So I talk about using Google Forms in your business, maybe at open houses or doing client satisfaction surveys, different things like that. And then we talk about turning those forms into a QR code and different ways you can create QR codes now. So those are those 3 classes in our real estate strategies class. And we have a brand new class in Canva for the new magic AI features that Canva has. So I'll try to touch on those, but my other class goes deeper into that. So I guess it's a 4-part series now. Brand new class. I just did it yesterday. So let's get started. Obviously, I am in Canva right now. One of the first questions I always get in a Canva class is, what does it cost? So we'll start there. Canva is free if you get the free plan, and you can use a lot of different features in there, but you will see a little crown next to things that are going to be grayed out for you or just restricted from use. So Canva Pro is $120 a year, and you get all the different things, the magic AI features, extra photos and fonts and all sorts of things. You're also able to download transparent images, which is important sometimes when you're doing your logos. And so there's different things like that, file resizing, that you can't do in the free account. So it is a business expense. You do a lot in here if you are working on your open house, flyers, promotions, social media marketing, your presentations, all of those things can be done in Canva. So it is useful in today's age where there's a lot of content we are creating. So there's that. You can go. Okay, so let's get started. This is your main home screen. When you log in, you're most likely going to be pulled up to this screen where you can see different items that they are offering you to try. There are your recent designs down here, and then it just goes down into your recent designs. So I'm big on folders just because I like to keep it organized. So you're going to see I've starred some folders here on the side that I can get to quickly, and I'll show you how to create those. You've got your projects here, so if you did want to just see all your projects, you could go there, and you can also see where your folders, designs, images, and videos. So you have them all listed here, so if I wanted to go straight to my folders, I could do that. Before we dive into one of the creating a graphic, I wanted to first share the brand kit with you. So if I go back to my home screen here, it's called the brand hub now, and this has a little crown next to it. So it's one of those things that is part of the pro version. So I want to show you what that looks like. The brand hub, you can see here, there's different ones that we have, and you can create these so that you don't have to pick and choose what colors you're using every single time you create something and the fonts that you're using. So you can go here to add new brand kit. So I'll just do a test one, test company. So you can create several of them and toggle back and forth, and I'll show you where you're going to use these later. But this is a great thing to get set up at the beginning. Like it says, add your brand colors, fonts, logos, and just so it's easier for you to keep this a consistent look with your branding. So if you have any logos, you drag them there. If you have colors that you use on a regular basis, you'll add them there. You can, this is, a really bright, colorful team here. So you can add the colors, and those are going to show up where I'm going to show you. You can put in that number. So if you have had your logos created already and you have those, the numbers like that, you can actually go in here and copy and paste that number right there, and it will be exactly your color of your brand. So I'm going to leave those in there. And then down here, you can have, they've added a lot of different fonts that you can use. And this is, again, so each time you're creating something, you don't have to go look through all the fonts, find just the right one. Take some time, build this out, and have the fonts that you really like to have a consistent look to your brand. So you can add those in here. You click on it, and you can choose which font you have on there. Whether you can change the title, like what it is, so you can select that. The size doesn't matter too much because you can always resize things in projects. And so There is one, and then you'd go down, and maybe you want this one to be like that, and you change each one. So that's how you would do that. You can add photos and graphics here that will be in your brand kit. So these are new items that I'm just now noticing that the brand kit has added. You can add photos to anything that you do. So, but if there's a photo that you use often and consistently that's maybe not one of your logos, you can add those things here. So they just gave us some more options than just logos. And I'm going to show you where this comes up when you're inside of a project. So I would definitely take the time, if you have the pro version, to set this up, because it makes creating things later on a lot easier. So again, that's in the brand hub, which is, and there's also brand templates. So I have not really created one of these, but you know what? We're just going to go ahead and do that today together. Brand controls. Color control, restrict your team's access. So if you do have a team, restrict the fonts. So if you have teams that are going to be in here that are doing it as well, we saw that on the plans. There's teams plan, so you can have $150 for 5 people to be able to have their own logins and get in here and play around. And you can restrict whether they're using the right colors and different things. So brand templates, again, this was on your home screen under brand hub right there, okay? But let's go ahead and play around with, because it's going to be a lot similar to creating one of your designs. Whenever you create a design in Canva, so you can go up here and create design. If I were to create a design like that, it's just going to be floating in my projects. If I were to go into our content, one of my folders here, so you can see I'm in my template folder and then my content. So you see here, there's a lot of designs in here. I have folders within here. When you want to create a folder or a design within this folder, you're going to press add new right there. If you press create a design, that's just going to float out there in all your projects. If you press right here, you're going to create a new design right here in your folder that you want it in. So maybe you have a folder of all your open house content or graphics. You can add it that way. Not the end of the world if it is floating out here in your project. And I say this because when you're playing around in here, it's important to keep it organized, because you're going to have a lot of stuff, and when you want to go back and find it, it's really nice. You can see here on my recents, these are in folders. If it's not in a folder, let's see if I have one. Let's see. I do not see anything in there that doesn't have it. So you can, but you can move these things. So you click on that and then move to folder. Always find the 3 dots, those are helpful. Move to folder, and then you can select which folder you can go to right there. So going back to the Canva brand kit. So again, you can add a new design, create a design right here, and you have a few options. But we're going to go in the brand kit and play around in there. Because I think for you guys, it's really important to have some templates picked out, because you really create a lot of the same things every time. You know, your congratulations, just sold, coming soon, open house. And so it is nice to have something that is a template for that, right? So wait, I went to the brand hub, brand templates. So I'm going to create a brand template. We're going to play around and create let's say an open house social media graphic. So I'm going to say create brand template. The same options pop up right here. So this is really helpful, especially when you're trying to create something specific. I get the question a lot for Facebook cover graphics. So if you search in here Facebook, you're going to get a lot of different ones. Event cover, app ad, don't worry too much about that. Post, landscape, and square. And this is just formatting it to the right pixel so it's not blurry, it's not too big of a file, profile picture. So lots of different options there. There's also flyers. Oops. Flyers. So I kind of hover over it to make sure it's 8.5 by 11. These flyers are obviously giving you some ideas there, templates. But this one would be landscape. Sometimes I like to put in there, if I want it sideways, right? I just type in flyer landscape, but you see that? That'd be a half sheet, right? Landscaping flyer, landscape. There it is. That's interesting. So there is flyer landscape 11 point, so it's sideways, right? Or you could say portrait if you want it to just come up faster. Concert flyer, okay, I just need a flyer that's a portrait size. So you see there's lots of options there, right? So we're gonna create a brand template again. So those are the ones that you use more frequently are gonna be right here. I'm gonna do a Facebook post, and you can also do custom sizes down here. So if you have something really specific, if you are doing an ad in some sort of brochure, you might get the pixels from someone, ask what are the pixels, and so that it's the right size, especially when you're doing blown up really big banners. It's really important to get the right size so that it's not distorted if you blow it up really large. But you can also change that to inches, and so you could say I need something that's 6 by 10, right? So I'm going to go ahead and just do a box. So I'm going to custom size. I'm going to do a square, 10 inches by 10 inches, create new design. All right, there's the title up there. So you can rename this test open house social post. All right, so because it knows that this is a square, it's giving me some ideas over here already. I'm gonna move my face over here. It's always gonna open it up in this design section where it's giving you some ideas to start with. These are great if you're not trying to be a graphic designer. These are a great place to start. You can even search open house, and it's going to give you layouts, guys. So that's a big one here in this design spot. These are also called templates, and you can find them. Create new design. Okay, I think I'm doing that. It opened a new window. You can also find these. I wanted to show you back on the home screen. You can find these in templates that are here. So if you just wanted to play around before you get started to get some ideas, you can click on the side here where it says templates, and it's going to show you a lot of different options there as well. So this is a great place to get started. There's what I mentioned, design magic, something that you can play around with. But here are some ideas and lots of templates for you to play with. So they have them in collections, so they all kind of look the same. So that's another place you can explore. So let's go back to our test open house. And I'm going to go ahead and start with a template for you guys. I'm going to show you how to edit one of these and be able to play around and make it your own. So these most likely, I always got to see how they created these. And you can see here template style. If I click on that, it's shuffling different color schemes. Okay, it likes that one. Styles. So they have different combinations. I always like to say you can't break Canva. So click around and just see what the options are. That's how I learn. And that's how, you know, we're all learning this together. It does change kind of often. So you can see this one right here. So it does now, it used to overwrite what you had there when you clicked it, but now it just adds a new page. So let's talk about that. So we added this in here. You can see these options up here where you can duplicate, which I duplicate a lot just in case I'm trying to test out different designs. I don't want to lose what I already have. So I would just duplicate this one and it's going to add another one in there for me. You can delete it, or you can just add a new page, and it's always going to add the color that is in the background. So we've made that background orange. So you can come over here, and I'm clicked in the background here. You can see how it's purple. So I can just change that back to white like that if I wanted a blank canvas. You can also, when you're downloading things, it does sometimes help, especially if they're images that you want to be named separately. You can name them like this, and well, you can name them anything you want, but I'll just do open. I always like to do numbers first, especially for the months, to keep them in order. So I'm going to say open house 1, version 1 there. And then you could do, let's say this is for March, open house 2, or you could just even name at the front number there. So I like to name them so that when I download them, they do look better, or they're easier to sort through. So they have created this design for you. And so I'm clicking on this image and I'm gonna press delete on my keyboard. And so you see this little frame photo there of a sky and grass. So I'm pressing delete on all of those. You can also you can delete like that. And then if you wanted that really gone, you delete again. So I'm gonna press Control Z. I use Control Z a lot to undo what I've done. You can also press that right there. And if you hover over it, it says Control Z on your keyboard. You feel like a real designer when you start learning those keystrokes. So now we have these little frames in here. So if you wanted to add those to any design, if you go to Elements, this is where you're gonna find all your graphics, different shapes, graphics, videos, everything is in Elements that's in Canva that you're able to use. If you scroll down, you're gonna see tables and you're gonna see frames right here, or grids. So frames are these, you can see there's lots of different designs. You can really go down a rabbit hole on this one, but you can add any of these in there. So if you wanted this one instead of this one like that, you could do that. And then what you do is, well, I'm going to go back to Elements. The difference between the frames here and the grids is also great for open house because, let me go to this blank page right here, because it always opens up like that, but you can change it to be any size. So this is a much easier, instead of making sure that it's all the same size or layout, spaced evenly, you can do a grid like that, and it has all different photo combinations, and then you can add photos to it. So I'm going to show you now how to add a photo to the grid. We're going to scroll down. I'm going to just search for houses. And I'm just going to start. So I clicked on that one. Now, if you have your own property, right, you're going to have your own property houses, you're going to just be able to drag those graphics over here. So let me show you an example. So let's say you have your property photos saved onto your computer. So I'm going to use some of these as an example. All you have to do, any graphic that you have or picture that you have saved on your computer, you're able just to drag that baby over. It might take a second depending on how large it is, but you can see here it's downloading in my uploads over here. And it's also in my image. I could also click back over here. If you didn't want it in your project right away, you can always delete it. But let's say I can just also drag it over here, and it tells you what files are able to drag. So it's going to upload it there. These stay here. You can see all of these when you are in your images section of your home screen under your projects. I think we were there, and you see images. So you can go through here, delete them, clean them up, but they're going to be saved in here for until you get rid of them. So sometimes you have to refresh this page for it to show up since we just downloaded them over here. So that's how you drag photos of your own in here to be able to use. So I'm going to drag this one as well. We're going to drag it over there. And again, they're always going to be here on your side. So that's where the brand kit comes in, because it's nice not to have to drag, scroll all the way down. You can see here I uploaded the same photo. Once you upload it once, it's going to be in there. You don't have to do it. But finding it sometimes hard. So if I scroll down here, you can see logos right here. So that's where I have my logos that I can use and save from my brand kit and just have it ready to go, inserting in there. And you can really do this with any graphic that you're going to use often. It's telling you right here, go to your brand hub to set it up. You can also, like I said, toggle back and forth. If I click right there, you can change the brand kits within this project. So let's say maybe you need a different look that you've set up already, you can set it up in there. So you can do that. And I think you can also upload your logo right here if you want to have it saved in there. So that's nice as well. So I'm going to delete this one. When you right click, you can copy, copy style, paste, duplicate, delete. All the layer options are here now. So the layer, all of this, a lot of this stuff used to be up here on this banner. Now they've put some options up here and then some of them, most of them in here. So we're gonna talk a little bit about those. So I'm gonna just press delete on my keyboard and make that be gone. So now we have our photos that we want in our frames, right? So you can see as I'm dragging over this, and this can be frustrating sometimes if you don't want an image in the frame, but you've got to see wherever your mouse is, where I have it clicked, whenever my mouse goes over that frame, that's when it gets dumped in there. So now that picture's there. That picture's there, and let's go back to uploads right here, and I'm going to pull in this kitchen and I'm going to drag it down there. So, and then maybe I want my face right here. So if you can double click, so if you have that in your frame, you can double click on it and you can zoom in. So you can like just get a piece of a photo. So once I click out, it just has that piece in there. You can also move, maybe you just want the house really close up. You can move it like that, clicked out of it, now it's there. So you can edit where the placement is on this. But it is going to require that the photo, that looks a little funky because my photo is a circle with a transparent background. Let's say we don't want that photo there because it's already a circle. I right clicked on it and I'm going to say detach image. So now it's back out. And maybe I just put this, you know, as my branding here at the bottom or something like that, like right there. So I already had this saved on my computer. I already created this with a frame that had a frame or that blue line around it. And then I downloaded that to my computer and then re-uploaded it here so I can use this in some of my content, right? Same thing of the detach image. You can also make images a background. So we're going to use my face as this. Any image that you have in here, let's say we want the backyard actually to be our background. So any image that you have in here, you can right click and you can say replace background. And that's going to be in the back of this. That looks very busy. That does not look good. But I want to show you that you can make an image a background and then same thing, detach image from background and it comes off. If you want this orange to be a different color, I'm clicking back there on the orange. You can see the purple line and you see the color option pops up right here. You may have been noticing that as and you can pick one of your brand colors right here that you've selected, or you can pick a photo color. So whenever you have photos in here, it's pulling colors that are predominantly in these photos so that, again, you can have a consistent look to your content. So you can choose a color that kind of coordinates with those photos that you have in there. So, and hopefully you've noticed as I'm clicking on things, this bar up here changes. So when I'm clicked on a photo, this is where you can edit photo, flip photo. Let's say maybe I needed it flipped upside down for whatever reason. You can do that there or flipped that way. You can animate this. Think PowerPoint presentation. If you wanted this to be a GIF for your social media, you could do something like that. And you can, there's lots of options here to change the speed of it, all sorts of different things. If you hover over let me click out of it. If you hover over these different ones, it's going to show you before you add it. So I'm going to click on that one. Do you want it to, lots of different options. Click around on that. We'll leave that alone. And then also the position. So position now, let me move my face over there. This is really nice. Position now opens up and you have all the options right here. Similar to if I right clicked on this and I go down to, let's see, let me click on this one. You can go down here, align to page. Those same options are there. So if I needed everything to be aligned, let's say this text box, this text box, this text box. So I'm clicking on those and the shift button. on my keyboard, right? So that's a common thing to use when you're selecting more than one thing. You press shift and you can click all of those. You can also do that to select them, but it's going to select that background. So I could press shift and click that, and now it's unselected the background. So I do that a lot. Let's say these were not, maybe you were adding these text boxes and they're not aligned. I'm going to click all those. I'm going to go up to position, or I could right click and I can go to align elements to the left. And so now they're all aligned to the left. I'm big on things being aligned. I think that's so important when it comes to marketing. You want it to look clean. You don't want there to be any spaces. Sometimes what happens is on these, when you have two lines, you'll see one word is maybe there's a space there. Why is that? Oh, there we go. And that does not look good. So sometimes I have to remove spaces like that. It happens some way or another. So if you click all these again, position, you have a lot of different options there. You also have space vertically. So that, you saw the little off or move. Here, we'll do it again. Maybe this is way up here. But you want these, so I'm going to select all of these. And you want to put it the highest and the lowest place you want. Position, space evenly, and now it's evenly spaced. And just double checking, it's left aligned because it's grayed out. So you have lots of options here to make it clean once you're done with your project and you want to make sure everything is aligned. Let's say I'm going to delete this one, and let's say I'm duplicating this one, and you can see that I have it snapping so that it does help me a little, and it's showing me, very intuitive, showing me the space in between those two graphics there. So that's helpful. But let's say if it wasn't quite working the way I wanted to, sometimes it likes to jump to another spot. I could always say center, and now those are all centered, and I'm going to try to move it where I can see that space is the same as that one. Okay, so we've talked about frames, we've talked about the colors that you can choose. A couple more things with font. So these were already in there from our template. Let's put this. Okay, let's talk about this. So let's say I wanted my photo right there at the grid point of all those, where all those photos meet. This one I actually copy and pasted after I inserted this one, so it's in front of it. They do have now where you can go here and go to layers, which is, and you can say backwards, send to back, show layers. So show layers, it is helpful, and you can see, this is fairly new, you can see all the items in here, which can get a little overwhelming because I do believe it picks up any of these. Oh no, that's the other project. So usually I right click and I just say move to back, move backwards, or move to front. I just click it there, but this is nice too if you have a lot of items and you're like, okay, I don't want that to go all the way to the back. I just need it to move one layer back. So I can move my face to the top, and now it's in front of all these other items. Hopefully that makes sense. So layers is important. There's a lot of times like this right here is behind that. I can right click, layer, bring to front. But that's still gonna overlap, right? So I'm gonna delete that. So I have my photo there in the middle. So a couple things, we've talked a lot about the graphics and the color of the background. Font's the same way. So when you click on the photo, you have your options up there. We didn't touch on edit photo. These are some of those magic edits, magic eraser that I mentioned are gonna be in the other class. But you also have, if you wanted to filter your photo, they have some pretty basic filters. They also have shadows, which I do use that a lot when it comes to, if I have like a paper example in here, like it's a flyer within my graphic, I like to do a shadow around it. There's lots of different things you can play around in here. In the edit, and you can also adjust. Let's say your photo is just a little bit too dark. You can play around with that. You can make it brighter, contrast, and all those things. So you don't want to change it too much. You can also say auto adjust, and it's just going to auto set those for you. Crop, you might have noticed me using the crop. You can do it in here, it looks like. So smart crop. Again, this is where it's showing like where it is in that frame. I'm going to click out of it. The easiest way to crop things is really when you click on the graphic, you see these little, those little lines. you can just crop images. Now this is a frame. Let's say I have the photo in here. Oops, I don't want it to be on the back of anything. Let's move that photo. I can just drag it down here if I want it in this project. Get in this project. So if you want to crop things, right, you can right click. I'm assuming crop's there. Nope. Crop is under edit photo. I never use crop right here because typically I'm going to use crop over just on the image itself. I can just crop it like that. Again, if you double click it in your crop, you can like move it to exactly where you want, what you want to show. You can make it that way, and then you can also just you can double click and you can actually make it back to its normal size there. A couple different ways you can do that there. So that's how you crop an image. So you can see here some of the options went away because I'm not clicked in any image. If I click in a font, that's where I have my options for my text. You can see my brand kit is right there with my 3 fonts that I use. And then there's also your recently used fonts and the fonts that are actually in this project or document right now. So there you can go down a rabbit hole in fonts. It does help you if you click in the search box. There's some options up here, handwriting fonts are popular. So you can change that. Probably wouldn't want that in all caps. So here's another tip when you're using the text. If you do your text in cap locks because you want it to be all caps, it's a little harder to spell check. So this is my tip because I do spell things wrong a lot because I'm a quick typer and my brain can't catch up. So you see right here, this font I can tell is actually has this uppercase indicated. See how it's grayed right there? It's selected. So I'm going to click it and it's going to go back to lowercase. Now when I click in there, let me zoom in a little bit. When I click in here, you see how that red line showed up and it's telling me that it's spelled wrong. But you noticed when it was uppercase, it doesn't have that in there. So when anything's uppercase, it's not going to spell check for you. So you really want to do everything in lowercase fonts when you're creating this, and then you can make it uppercase like that. Just so, and you notice that I had to click out and then back in to make sure the spell check is correct. So this isn't Word, so the spell check feature is a little bit harder. You want to make sure you click in there and there's no red lines. I click in here and a red line popped up, so I would spell it correctly, and now I'm ready to make that all caps again. But that font looks awful in all caps, so I'm going to go back to something like that, kind of boring. So, but I'll show you this. So I picked this font. You can, if you want, make that smaller, and you can change the font size like this if you want. So just pulling in and out from one of the corners. So I like that way the best. But then sometimes, what if I needed this open to be bigger? So I need to highlight that, and then I can do just the open is getting larger, right? You see that? I can highlight it. I can also click in there, type what font I want. Let's see, 32, way too small. And then I can also click the whole thing. So when I click on the box, or if I click on this, I can go up here and say, no, I need both of those the same size again. Make it, and then just make it big again. So those are some sizing options. You have, of course, right align. You just click on this to change the alignment of your font. You can bullet point it. Oops. Right? Unbullet point. So if you click it 3 times, bullet points, numbers, none. Spacing, this is a big one. So I'm not a fan of how far apart those 2 words are in this font. So I'm going to move that over a little bit. And so I can change that here. So the letter spacing, you can do that here, right? And then also line spacing. So you can make it farther or closer together. So I'm going to make that one like that. So those are some options you have there as well. And then under effects, you have lots of options for your text. You have none. You have a shadow. You can change the color of your shadow. Let's do it blue, kind of stands out a little bit more. Zoom in a little bit more so you guys can really see it. Going back to effects. You can do shading, so you can intensify that. That's always going to be black. But you can do this, and if you wanted it to be blurry like that, you can change the blur, you can change the direction of your shadow. So lots of options in here, and also you can change that color of your shadow like I showed you. Then there's also these options, so you can hollow it out, you can hollow it out with a shadow, you can do that, and you can change the thickness. I kind of like that. That's like a kind of a, it's called Echo. So each font shows you the different options it has in there. And then there's this background one, which is actually kind of helpful when you need words to stand out, like if it's on there and you want it to, let me go back to none. You want this to stand out, you can put that and you can change the background there. And you can also change the transparency. So you can make it, that background to the font bigger. So lots of different options. You can't break it, just test it out, see what works good. The last one at the bottom is you can do, so that's on 2 lines, but I could do that and it does a curve. So if I scroll down a little bit here, the curve can, you can change the thickness of your curve. If you click, I'm gonna make it, I had a space because I wanted the house on the bottom, but I'm gonna open house. Now it's all on 1 line. I think it'll look better. Yep. So I had to change the words to be on 1 line because if it was on 2 lines, it was a little farther apart and there was more spaces at the end. So you can do that. Again, that's under effects. You can do animation just like we did to the graphic. You can make these words come in like that, wipe. You can really go down the rabbit holes of design on there. There's also this transparent. So whether you're in a graphic, there's that transparent, or if you're in text, there's transparent. So that would be if you wanted it to be lighter or darker on there. And then what's also helpful is, let's say you want to go back to this font and this style. I'm going to click in there and I'm going to click that little copy style. Copy, and I'm going to click on open house and boom, it's back to same font, same size, same alignment as this one. You can also right click, copy style, and you could change that as well. So those are some options in your text up here. You can also lock it. So let's say you have something that you always want to be in the same spot, right? So let's say I wanted my photo to stay here, but I'm going to be changing things behind it a lot, so I don't want to grab it every time. Or maybe this box you want to stay there. There is a lock feature, so right here, lock or lock position only. This is also if you share templates, then the person that gets your template wouldn't be able to move that item. But I like they've added lock position only, so I can lock my little face there, but I can grab everything to move it. And it doesn't move. Oh wait, did I lock this? Oh yeah, I locked this square right here. So you saw when I grabbed everything and moved it, that square stayed there because we locked it. So you can see that it's locked when I click on it. It has this little pencil lock. So if I click on that again, now it's for real locked. I guess I can't edit it. If I click on it again, now it's open. So that can come in handy if there's something in your picture that you keep grabbing, because you keep grabbing everything and you're like, that thing needs to stay there. Maybe it's a background. That's where lock comes in really, really helpful. Okay. All right. So we've gone over lots of things. We went over the pricing, the brand kit, some of the, when you're creating new graphics, the format for new graphics, right? When you go to create design, there's all those formats there, the little projects and the templates that are optional. When you click on one of those, it kind of gives you some examples of templates. Then we also talked about those grids and frames that were under our elements, right? Oh, there's some frames that are houses. That's kind of cool. Sometimes it just shows you things that Oh, because I have houses in the search. So it gave me some frames that are houses. So that's kind of cool. Lots of different things. We talked about frames. We talked about how to move the photos in there, how to upload to your uploads and use those graphics in here. We also just went over how to change the font and a lot of the colors options, how to find that in your brand kit or just other colors. And I showed you the photo colors right here. If none of these colors are what you want, there's colors down here too. Ooh, gradients, those are new. Haven't seen those. Let's say you wanted a very specific color and it's just not showing you here. You can click on this. This is under gradient. How fabulous. And so it looks like you can choose like what color your gradient is. So that's kind of cool. Something new. Sometimes you just see new things where they move things around. So you've got to really just click around. But if you had a specific color you want to use, you can copy and paste it right there. Or you can use this little dropper and say, I want this orange that's in that window frame. I'm going to click there and it's going to pick that color for me. And while I'm in this project, if I click on, let's say this font right here, and I go to the colors, that color I just picked out is going to be saved right here for me. But if you go into another project, it's not going to be there. These are colors I've been using in this project. All right, so lots of different options there. We have these fonts already, or these text boxes already in there. If you did need to add a text box, you'd go to text. There's my brand kit fonts. There's also some example ones down here. Sometimes I start there. Group this, and then I can press shift, I can add, click on that, and I can group all of that together. Now when I ungroup, it's going to ungroup everything. So you can add something to a group, but then it's part of it and it's going to ungroup everything. So that's a big one to play around with. I love grouping things to once you get it the way you want and maybe you need to move it. Big one, big one, big one. Okay, so I want to go over real quick, now that we have this fabulous design here, right? It's so pretty. Downloading. So up here I said there's the name of your document. Remember we did an animation here, the breathe animation. So it is showing me right here, I could play this and it's just that one animation. So you could use that or not. I'm going to close that and it's showing me the animation of all my pages in this project. You can go down here, see this grid view? I like going that because it shows you all the pages in your project. So the reason why you would do this is maybe you have this one project that's your open house social post and you can just keep duplicating and adding new ones. Maybe you don't want to get rid of the old ones. But it's nice to have all of them together in one project versus making new projects for each one. So sometimes you might forget where it's at, but this is really nice to keep things together that are the same or similar. You can also, when you look at this grid view, you can move things around so you can see what order they're in. This is especially helpful if you're doing documents like flyers, maybe a presentation packet, and you have all your pages and you're like, actually, I just need that page over there. You can also name your documents in here. So I can name, I didn't name this one over there, so I can do 03 open house 3. So I'm going to show you how to download these now. And this was a big aha for a couple people the other day of that you can just download in here, and it makes a little more sense if you think about flyers. You can just download one of these at a time. So if we're ready to download this, this one in the middle, I can go up here to share. Share. Oh my gosh, I guess I've never known. No, I can do that. Oh, I guess I was clicked in it. See, sometimes you're like, I don't know what it's doing. I was clicked in that and it didn't like me. Oh, maybe my mouse was just being slow. So sorry. Okay, so there's a couple different options under share here. First thing we're going to talk about is just downloading your project. So you see this download right here. I'm going to click on that. And then it's showing me MP4 video because it has that animation in there. You don't have to download it as a video. You can also download it as a photo, as a PDF. I would download something with that animation like that as a GIF so that when you upload it to social media, it's just gonna play over and over again versus someone having to click the play button. So that's something that you can do. But then there's JPEGs, PNGs. I like to stick to PNGs just because these are for if you have transparent backgrounds or anything like that, you have to do it in PNG, and these are going to be pretty similar. So I just stick to PNGs. Then there's PDF standard. If this isn't something you're going to print out, it's going to be a smaller document size. And then you have PDF print for printing. So first I'm going to show you how to download. Let's say we'd want to download all of these because I want you to see how they're going to download. Download PNGs. So this is where you can do transparent background. So I'm going to do that because it's going to show you what this one's going to do. There's no background on that one, right? I don't need to compress. And so this is where it says all pages. So you can do that, or I can uncheck that and say, I just want that middle one, right? So if you just download one at a time, just one. And this option here, mine's always checked, save download settings. So if you're downloading a lot of these, you don't have to click all these different things again. So I'm going to press download. We're going to give it a second. It's downloading page 2 in my thing, and it's going to tell me where I want it. Should pop up. Where do I want to save it? And I'm going to save it right there as a PNG. Save. Now, so that's one graphic. Going to open it up in there. So there's my one image. Oh, how nice. Moving that over here. So now I'm going to show you what happens if you want to download. Let's say you have 3 of these that you want to download. Download, PNG, transparent background. I'm going to click in there. I'm going to press all. You can also click in here and just type in 2 or 1 to 3. Oops. If you want, same thing, either way. So I'm going to show you what happens when you download all of them as a PNG. So these are graphics that you can post to social media. One thing I will share, when you do a JPEG and the PNG, when you save them in the same folder, it only shows you the files that are the same thing. So I'll show you right now in this property photos, you don't see any of my PDFs or my other PNG because now this is a compressed folder. So these graphics are downloading in a folder. I'm going to press save, and it's doing that because these are individual graphics and it can't save them all onto your computer individually. So it does a zipped folder. If you're not familiar with a zipped folder, this is great to do when you are emailing things that maybe are too large. You can zip condenses it and then the person can get them. You click on extract all. You see that right there, extract all. You can change where they're saved. So I can say, no, I actually want them saved in that property photos. So I'm just gonna erase that. You can also browse and find where you wanna save them. So I'm gonna extract them there, replace the file, sure. Just replace it. So it opened it up. So this is my zipped one that says extract all because you can't do anything with these. You can't move them, downloading, they're zipped. So you can see now, there is my zipped folder. Once you extract them, see them right there, you can delete that zipped folder. You don't have to save it on your computer. And now I have my 3 graphics unzipped as PNG files, and they are saved with those names that are right here, right? So I'm going to show you that second one. You see how that's, no, first, 2, 3. Okay. So the second one, remember there's no background, so it looks black, right? I'm going to show you what a transparent background does. Now think about your headshot or maybe your logo. It looks black, but that's because there's no background. So I'm going to click back over here, and let's say I want, let me go back in and find, I'm going back to those photos where they're saved right here. So let's say this beach one, I want this one now in here. Copy. There it goes. See, sometimes you gotta be patient. Sometimes I get more than one in there because I'm not patient. So now you see that I have this in there, and you can see that it's transparent, so it can go over. It is a big box. I would probably trim that so that it's not so big. And you can, now it can be over things and different things like that. So it can also go in there, but it's gonna have no background, right? So I can press undo, Control Z, and you have, so that means a transparent background. Helpful. Now, one more thing I wanna show you, just because I know a lot of you have your headshots that you wanna edit. I'm going to replace background. So on this photo, I could go over here to Photo Edit, and see this BG background remover. So you can click that, and it's gonna remove the background for me. Sometimes it's perfect, sometimes it's not, but it doesn't know the difference. Oops. It doesn't know the difference between my shirt and that line, but you can see now that's transparent, and it could go over things. If you wanted this over that photo, but you don't want it to go to the background, if you press the Control key on your keyboard, it won't do it. So if it's, see, it's trying to pop it in there, but if I press Control, now it's over there. So that's another little bonus thing about whatchamacallit, delete. I could also say, I think you can reset photo. You're using, maybe not, reset photo. You can also just press the back button until you get your photo back the way you want it. Oh no, when you remove the background, that's it. All right, she's staying like that right now. So I want to show you one more thing. I'm going to delete that. Now, let's say you want to download this because they are flyers. You're going to email them to somebody as a PDF. So download, you can download anything as anything, if that makes sense. So I want to download this, and I'm going to just be emailing it to somebody. It doesn't have to be in a flyer size to be a PDF. Flattening it means no one can go in with a PDF editor and edit what you have in there. So I usually flatten too because it's a smaller file size. And when you look at, when it's going to do all of them, when you do that as a PDF, it's going to combine them together. So if you wanted individual PDFs, you'd have to do each page at a time, download it, and it would be the PDF. When you download them all together, it's actually going to name it this up here. If you download them individually, it's going to name them what's there. Just a little tip, doesn't really matter, but it's downloading. Now you're going to see in that same folder, you won't see my PNG files, but you're going to see this PDF saved there. If I downloaded another PNG, I would see the PNGs in there. You can see I've got JPEGs, PNG files, but when it opens up to save this, there's nothing in there because there's no other PDFs. So I'm going to save that right there. And now you can see my PDF is right there. And it's going to be, let's open it up. It was like an aha moment for me once when I was like, oh yeah, I can make PDFs any size. One thing that you can do with these images is also insert them into your emails. So that's kind of a helpful thing. One cool thing, okay, this is going to be my last aha while we're in here when it comes to these PDFs, okay? So you can see here, this is my PDF editor. It's called Kofax. It's a pretty good one. Now, let's say you wanted these in a different order and you did not pay for a PDF editor. You can change the order in here, right? download it again and they would be in the right order, or just download the ones you want, right? So here's one more tip, because I got one more thing for you if you can hang on with me. Let's say, let's open up this one again, and let's say we want them to click here to see more information, right? And we're gonna be emailing this to people. Maybe it's a flyer for a new listing that you have. I'm gonna go over to Elements, and I love using click here, these little images they have. And I'm gonna say, I'm gonna just use that one. There's a lot of them that you can use. Actually, I always like using that little guy right there. So let's say we have something. I'm going to press Control D to duplicate. For more property information, click link below. Now let's say, I'm going to just delete that out of the way. I'm going to delete that line. We haven't been using it. So let's say you have this on there and it looks pretty. Move my head out of the way. Oops, get out of there. There we go. Let's say you have this and you want it to go to your website or any type of link, okay? I can go to the three dots or right click down here to link. So first I'm going to go over here and I'm going to pull up my website just to use it as an example URL. So URL is your website link right there. I'm going to press copy, and then I'm going to go back to my document. I'm going to click on that where click here, right click, link. I'm going to paste my link in there. And now when you download it as a PDF, it's clickable. This is very cool to me. So you can do this with anything. I can right click on that graphic and say, do a link. I want it to go to that. I'm going to paste that link again. So I'm going to show you, but you have to let people know. That's why I did the click here. And you have to let people know it's a link, right? Not everyone's going to be clicking all over. So now let's download this specific page. So this is page 2. Nope, now it's page 3 because I've moved everything around. So this only works, the links only work when it's in a PDF and it cannot be flattened. Remember, flatten takes out the ability to edit things, and so it flattens, it removes the link if you flatten it. So PDF can be either PDF standard or PDF print, and you can say download. So it's only printing out, downloading this one page for me. So again, think about property flyers or anything that you can text to, or email to somebody and they open up the PDF. And I'm going to show you one more thing. Can you believe it? When it comes to downloading things. So there's my PDF right there. I'm going to open that bad boy up. Mine opens up in browsers, but if I opened it up from here, it's going to open it up in my PDF viewer. So there's my PDF, and look at here. So you can see the little hand, but if I hover over that, changes. If I hover over this image, changes. So I can click there. It says, do you want to go to that page? And then it would click yes, and it's going to take me to my website page. So you kind of have to think through like what format you need for each thing. If you are posting something, you're going to want a PNG or a JPEG. If you're inserting it into your email itself, you want a JPEG or a PNG. But if you're attaching something, if someone's printing off something, you want to do a PDF. So going back to over here. Now let's say, well, Gina, I want to text somebody this graphic, okay? And I know we're going over a little bit, but there's just so much. Let's see, what if I want to text somebody this graphic? So you will need, if you want to text somebody this graphic, you have to have it be its own thing in here, or it's gonna text them all of these, okay? But if I just wanted that, this is where you can go to File. I can make a copy. Now, when you make a copy like that, it's going to be floating out there in your projects. You've got to move it back to the folder you want. But it's going to make a copy of this. Move back over there. And that was under File right there above my head. So now it says copy. You can redo that. But I'm going to delete this page. And this is another thing. You can do these little arrows. It kind of moves it up or down for you. It moves the projects up and down. So I'm going to delete both of those. So now I have a version that is just this one, right? Named, we're going to leave it as copy. And I want to be able to text this to somebody. So you can go down here. There's some options here. Yours might not be the same. They use the ones that you've recently used. If you don't see this one, view only link, you can go down to more, and you're going to see a lot of options here. You can present, you can make this your brand template, view only, template link is what I'm going to be sharing with you guys. You can make a QR code for this graphic, okay? One thing about the QR code, and we'll get more into that in the QR code class, is that it uses the image as the background of the QR code. I don't like that, but we'll talk more about that in the other class. View only link. So you click on that, and then you have to click on that, copy. So whenever I can text this to somebody, that link right there, they don't have to have Canva. So how I would send that to myself is I would actually, and this is doing it as a PNG or a little video file. So I would email myself that link, that view only link, and then I'd go to my phone and I'd open up my email. I would copy and paste that link and text it to yourself first to see how it looks, but it actually does not look like this long, ugly, view only. It's not this long, ugly thing, because that's long. It actually gives a nice preview when you text that link. So that's another way to go paperless. You can text somebody maybe the stage that they're at in the process, but just remember it does need to be by itself. And you did notice that it is going to pull whatever it is. So because we have animation, it pulled it as a little video, right? Where did it go? And you can sign up. So this is also rewatch. So this is where it opened up in an internet browser, so your people do not have to have Canva to be able to view what you're sending them. Okay, now I'm for real done because we've gone over a ton of things. I showed you how to link something, how to download things, view only link, transparent documents, a ton of stuff. So hopefully this was a great crash course into a lot of different things that you can use in Canva. You can quickly insert it into all of your projects that you have. So we'll just give it a second. You can make it pretty simple sometimes, just even having your name and realtor underneath it. Realtor. Let's see. But you can see here where I played around with some colored backgrounds, so you can tell how much it can pop more.
Photos in there.
Yeah.
You just keep, your photos.
Let me close this off and sign off the video.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you all for joining us today. Thank you to Over Public Title for being here for our Canva class. I'll get this up on YouTube for you and hope you all have a great day. Hope to see you soon. Bye.
Great job. Well, were there a bunch of people